Hello, I'm Nathan.
And I'm Jody, and this is Word on the Web.
And we are going to take a different approach today. Right? And
Let's do that.
We're used to answering questions.
Yeah.
This time we have an ask. We have an ask of our own.
Yeah.
Do you want to explain that? Kind of where we are?
Yeah. I mean, right now we are seeing some significant pressure on our operations budget. The why of that is because I think a few things. I think one, there's an increased need for our services throughout this unhoused population.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the Galloway bill is putting a lot of pressure on those who are living unhoused and unsheltered, and so they're migrating towards services and support because there's some fear attached to that bill.
Yeah.
And so we as an emergency shelter, this location responds to crisis, and so we've opened up those back gates.
Yeah.
And we are offering support, services, meals, water, whatever is needed all through the day and the night.
So before we go too much farther, can we pause for a second and just update our audience to make sure everybody's aware of what the Galloway bill is?
Sure.
Okay.
So the Galloway bill was Bill 1141.
Okay.
It's called the anti-camping bill. And it sets out basically to criminalize anyone who might be experiencing homelessness on the outside. They may be sleeping in a car. They may be sleeping by the river. They may be sitting and eating, drinking, or resting. And it allows, it asks, actually, for the City of Boise Police to write a ticket to them.
To respond.
To
right,
respond,
to manage it.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so that there's not a buildup of, people resting about. And so it's a hard thing when you are unhoused. You already feel so unsafe. And what this bill does is it actually creates more trauma. Like, if I'm sitting on this bench too long, is it too long? Like, is something going to happen to me? And, like, obviously, the Boise Police Department is doing everything they can to educate, and we in the homeless services are doing everything we can to expand resources and services so that this trauma isn't so pronounced.
So what this means for our operational costs is that we are serving more.
Yeah, and
in a season when in the past we haven't.
Usually when it does get warmer, the need for shelter does reduce a little because people do find other options because it's not so dangerous. There's not those cold elements. And quite honestly, it's a nice break for some people. It's hard to be inside of a shelter. So we fundraise. Our biggest time of the year is the end of the year where, my God, our community is so generous, and we base that on our projected budget for the year. And we do that by looking at the numbers throughout the year and what our averages are. And so obviously when numbers go up so significantly, and I mean, it's as simple as like the cost of paper towels, the cost of coffee cups, the cost of, bowls.
Any
to
number
feed.
of things. Yeah.
Everything gets elevated. And, the need for more staffing. And so we're seeing it. We're feeling it.
We're feeling it.
Yeah, and so we're so lucky. We have amazing supporters, amazing donors, and I reached out to a couple of them, Randall Heeb and Ann Merchant.
I was going to say, are they willing to share some names? Because they're incredibly generous people.
They are. And I met them, actually. They came to the Extreme Holiday Extravaganza, and they bought a house concert. And they don't live in Idaho. They have a home in Tamarack. Okay. And so they asked if Curtis and crew would come and do a house concert at their beautiful cabin in Tamarack. And there we met all these amazing friends of theirs who learned about the work we do. And so since then, they've been great supporters. And when we kind of saw this struggle, last year they had done something kind of similar with, I think it was Idaho Gives. They wanted to do a match. So I reached out to them and I asked if they would be willing to. And they were absolutely. And then their friends who we met through them, Harmon and Leah Kong, they were like, we'll do it too. And so between them and the friends that we've met in Tamarack, they created this $100,000 match so that every dollar you donate is matched dollar for dollar, and that's what's going to get us over the hump. And the reason why they choose to support Interfaith Sanctuary is because where they come from, they don't see the kind of support that Interfaith Sanctuary provides to their guests. They love our programming, they love our Homeless Art Collective, they love our Word on the Street, they love our mission statement, the fact that we keep families together. And so they really have become these huge supporters in hopes that someday maybe that will exist where they live.
Right. That the model that we're working every day to develop and
Yeah.
refine will someday go where they are.
Yeah,
Right.
and
right.
so the ask right now, and gosh, I know that there is so much need out there. I know, and we would not ask unless we didn't need some support right now, but we do. And so right now, if you sponsor a night of shelter, it's 2 nights of shelter. If you sponsor a week of shelter, it's 2 weeks of shelter. And we'll be able to match that all the way up to $100,000, which means we'll have $200,000 to get through the rest of this summer, and that will really help. So it's nice to be able to explain it, though, like, why in the world is Interfaith asking for money right now? Well, that's the why.
Yeah.
Times are tough.
Times are tough. The season is hot, right? And then the Galloway bill. There's a lot of contributing factors.
Yeah, and don't even get me started on the executive order, because that's going to be a whole nother word on the web.
That's a whole nother discussion.
You know, these things, the things that are happening, they are creating so much trauma for a group that is so vulnerable already.
Yeah.
And it really does, it makes the work harder. Like, where are they going to feel safe? Where are they going to feel stable? How are they going to know that they matter?
Yeah.
That's why we're here.
They start every day with an uphill climb.
Yeah.
And it feels like it just keeps getting steeper.
Yeah,
in
so
some
we
cases.
need to say yes.
Yeah.
When we can say yes, yes, you can have the extra this. Yes, you can, like, whatever it is, that's what we're here to do right now. So
are we ready to tell people how to?
yeah, just
How-
go to
how to donate?
interfaithsanctuary.org, and the donate button is right there, and everything you donate will be matched, and we will be so grateful. As always, we're always so grateful. So thank you.
All right, so last week we promised our audience, David in particular, who had a question about data and the data that we track, we promised a response to that.
Yes, and David, just so you know, we felt like we needed to get this messaging out today, but next week we're going to have an answer to your question about the numbers and like how our programming, how many people get housed, how many people are in recovery, how many people are employed. We're working on that because I think it's a great question. So next week we'll answer that question.
Answers coming.
It's coming.
But thank you for listening today and responding in a generous way to this unique Word on the Web.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody.